Hey guys, it's Tommy here, and welcome to Pokey Accountant. As you can tell, I got a Christmas hat on. Merry Christmas Eve, folks. I hope you have a nice time with you and your families and friends this holiday season. But until then, I just want to jump into a really quick video. I thought it might be fun. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit more about what we talked about last time, which is Pokemon set leaders. But this time, really, I want to nail time in the market. Time in the market is so much more important than timing the market and even which product to buy. In the long term, in a long scheme of things, it doesn't really matter. Of course, you stick with the set leaders, and I'm going to say that again and again. Just stick with the set leaders, pay the premium, don't try to time the market. Time in the market is so much more important. And what do I mean by that? Let me show you a little spreadsheet that I've conjured up. So shrink that. All right. So I hope you can see. This is the same spreadsheet that we used last time in our previous videos. I'm kind of recycling it, but I'm adding something that's really important here, and that is X and Y. I didn't have X and Y in the information last time, but I added it this time. So here we just have a summary of prices that I've pulled from TCG Player for Scarlet and Violet and Sword and Shield because there's a lot of product out, as well as Sun and Moon. But for X and Y, I couldn't use TCG Player, so I relied on today's market value price that I found on eBay. Okay, and so this could be accurate, might not be accurate, could be like $5,000 off, $10,000 off. But so, it kind of just like proves the point of what we're doing here. And this is why I say time in the market is more important than timing the market. Right now, we are in the Scarlet and Violet era, right? I'm not going to talk about evolution because we don't really have enough sets yet. And even though, like, um, X and Y has 11 boxes, Sun and Moon has 12, Sword and Shield has 12, Scarlet Violet has 10. Like, it's not going to be an exact number, but it's kind of close enough to where we can kind of make a few assumptions. Nothing too crazy, but the here we have four eras represented: X and Y through Scarlet and Violet, and throughout throughout these four sets, we have 12 years of data here that's listed, and we can kind of see the prices between sets. And you must be wondering, like, wow, X and Y is worth a whole lot more than Scarlet and Violet. It's like 25 times more. But isn't that because the supply was much lower back then and the supply is lower now? And I think that it is much higher now. I think that is true. Between XY to Sun and Moon, Sword and Shield, and Scarlet and Violet to the hyper modern era, there has been a lot of there's been a lot more supply in the modern era, right? And the demand has gone through the roof, which is why X and Y, Sun and Moon are at these prices, as well as Sword and Shield and now Scarlet and Violet. We can't even buy at MSRP. That's just telling you what's going on with the demand in the market. And the reason why I say time in the market is more important than timing in the market than timing the markets because whether you paid like $300 or $200 or $400 for any of these Scarlet and Violet boxes, I don't really think it matters. Trying to time and do everything so perfectly is never going to work out. You're going to time something perfectly and then you're going to time something poorly. And at the scheme of things, if you bought one of each of these boxes, it wouldn't really matter. You could have saved yourself $300. Like, oh, whoa, $300. What is that really, right? Because in 3 to 6 years from now, I believe Scarlet and Violet will be the prices of what Sword and Shield is at now. And even if you say, well, Scarlet and Violet is printed into oblivion, and it wouldn't be that same multiplier, like, if I took Sword and Shield and I divide it by Scarlet and Violet, it's like 2.6. Even if it's not 2.6, even if it was like 1.5, right? That would still be pretty amazing considering you only just waited like 3 years. You know, 3 years, all of this stuff will be out of print, including Destined Rivals, and these prices will take off. And I think it'll do even more than 1.5 times, but being hyper conservative, it would still be $4,200. It'd still be $4,200. So it's like, I don't think it's really that big of a deal, to be honest. Um, and same thing, like Sword and Shield. Can we see Sword and Shield in the next 3 years, right? This would then become 6 to 9 years. Would that be something like a Sun and Moon? Because that would require a lot. That would be like 4 times its current price. Maybe not, maybe not. But even if we got like, even if we had that doubled, it'd be pretty good. So these are also some multipliers to kind of like look at. Would it more likely be for Sword and Shield to 4x or more for Scarlet and Violet to 2.6x? And I think the latter is true. I think it's easier for Scarlet and Violet to, kind of work its way up to become like a Sword and Shield than Sword and Shield to reach a Sun and Moon. I think the supply in the old era was just so low that it made it possible for them to have crazy gains like that. But I do see Sword and Shield reaching the $10,000 mark, right? Where every single box combined would be greater than $10,000. And I think what's really going to be driving that would be, Evolving Skies, Fusion Strike, Lost Origin, Brilliant Stars, Chilling Reign, um, Silver Tempest, right? So I think that would be possible to drive Sword and Shield up to 10K and then 15K. And in terms of Scarlet and Violet, really, 6 years from now, we're not going to be looking at it like it's hyper modern, it's got printed into the ground, because at that time we'd be towards the end of Mega Evolution, if not have finished Mega Evolutions already, and entered into a new set. So just as how we're in Mega Evolutions right now, and we're looking back in Sword and Shield, and it looks like a amazing, like it's gone through the roof. It's performed amazingly. I think 3 years from now, we would have finished Mega Evolutions, and we would be in a new set, and we would be looking at Scarlet and Violet the same way. And we would then be looking at Sword and Shield the way we're looking at Sun and Moon right now. That's just what time in the market looks like. And even though there's more supply of Sword and Shield, there's more supply of Scarlet and Violet, the demand is going to increase. I think 5 years from now, 3 to 5 years from now, there's going to be so much more people entering the hobby than we have today. Just don't forget, Pokemon TCG Pocket came out this year in 2025, and it performed amazingly. 1.3 billion dollars in revenue, and that just attests to how much people were willing to spend on virtual cards. I think these people would eventually want to pick up the hobby and, like, the real hobby with the real tangible cards, especially if, these are some younger people who are in high school or maybe in college, and they don't have the money yet to work, right? But 3 to 5 years from now, these people will have jobs. They would have graduated from college. They'd have a career, and they'd have money just as the millennials did, just as some of the Gen Z kids did, right? Everyone's just got money for Pokemon all of a sudden. I think the same thing can happen a few years from now, especially if they release a brand new video game after the whole Mega Evolutions thing and introduce a new era. There would be hype. And Scarlet and Violet, we got some pretty great sets. We got 151, right? We have 151. We got Destined Rivals. We got Paldea Evolve. And I think in the future, like, the sentiment right now is, because none of this is making money, no one really cares. But when it starts making people money is when they care all of a sudden. And so 3 to 6 years from now, doesn't really matter. You won't really care what you paid. Oh, I overpaid $40. I overpaid $100. Like, no one's gonna care in 6 years from now when you're looking at it and everything has doubled, tripled, maybe even quadrupled, right? And that's just the funny thing about time in the market where I think people don't understand, where they make their decisions and they're buying based off. I think the common thing I'm seeing right now is Sword and Shield. Most people want to buy Sword and Shield because they think it's gonna do good this next year. Yes, it's gonna do good this next year. It may increase 50%, right? Probably more than Scarlet and Violet. But at the end of the day, your unrealized gains are still unrealized gains. You don't make money on anything until you sell it. So until you sell something, I don't care if your portfolio's gone 200, 300, 400, 500%. Until you take profits on it, it doesn't really matter. And let's just be honest here. 6 to 9 years from now, or let's use a better number, 6 to 10 years from now. 6 to 10 years from now, would you really argue whether you bought Sword and Shield or Scarlet and Violet or Mega Evolution? Mega Evolution has tanked and it's close to MSRP, it's dead. But in 6 to 10 years from now, would it even be an argument? Because today, if you would have like been like, oh, should I have, if I had gone Team Up or Evolving Skies in 2021, right? Team Up was way more expensive and Evolving Skies was way more affordable. But now all of a sudden it's just like it doesn't really matter. They all moved and they all went up and did their thing. And so that's the funny thing about investing that I don't think Pokemon investors really understand, that it's really just your time in a market and your exposure to a wide variety of baskets. And I think always follow the market leader. Every single era will have a leader. We have from XY Phantasmal Forces, and then we got Ancient Origins, Flash Fire. We got Sun and Moon Team Up. We got Cosmic Eclipse, Celestial Storm, Unified Mind, Unbroken Bonds, right? Sword and Shield. We got Evolving Skies. We got Fusion Strike. We got Brilliant Stars, Lost Origin, Chilling Reign. Here in Scarlet and Violet, we have Paldea Evolve. We got Destined Rivals. We got Surging Sparks, and we got Journey Together, right? Twilight Masquerade. And so, like, the market is telling you what is popular already. You don't need to read into it too much. Yes, you can wait for it to drop $20 for your case. Woo, you saved $100. Or you wait for it to drop $50 for your case. Woo, you saved $300. It really doesn't matter. 6 to 10 years from now, you're not going to be glad that you saved $300. You're going to be glad that you invested in a product and you had the patience to wait it out. So that's my main message for you today. Don't worry about like all these nitty and gritties. Just find a product that's good, something that you like and is popular. Buy it, hold on to it, and like here's this. Why am I bringing this up? Like, should I get Destined Rivals booster boxes at $400? You could probably find them like 360, 350 out there, Facebook Marketplace. And should I get that, a bunch of DR booster boxes, or should I get one Evolving Skies booster box? Or should I get an Unbroken Bonds booster box, right? They're all about like $2,000 and some change. Most people would say get Evolving Skies because Destined Rivals is getting printed to the ground. And yeah, it could get printed. But all I'm saying is that 5, 10 years from now, it doesn't really matter. Evolving Skies will be at like what, 10K? Destined Rivals would be at like what, almost 2K each? They'd be worth the same value. They would have all taken off. And arguably, Destined Rivals could be worth even more. Just because there seems to be an invisible wall that these boxes have a really hard time getting over $10,000 price points. And if they do, it would just be 1%. Just because $10,000 is a lot of money, it's nothing to scoff at. And especially with the supply going up, that could be harder to do than ever before. But still, if you're looking at it month to month, year to year, yeah, like if you're looking at things short term, 12 months or less. 12 months or less is considered short term capital gains in terms of general accounting principles, and tax. Anything that's bought and sold in under 365 days of ownership is considered a short term capital gain. And if you are making buying decisions based off short term capital gains, then that must mean you are willing to sell it. Because if you are willing to hold for long term capital gains, which is 1 year or more, and in investing, maybe even 5 years or more, your unrealized does not matter. You can hold something like Destined Rivals and it will be $400, maybe even less, maybe even a little more for the next 2 years. And there will be zero unrealized gains on it. But all of a sudden, it's out of print and you're like, whoa, this thing shot up to 800. And you're like, whoa, this thing shot up to 1200. And then you're like, whoa, this thing is $2,000. So 5 years from now, you would not be surprised that Destined Rivals is a $2,000 booster box because that's what Evolving Skies did. And you wouldn't be surprised 5 years from now if Evolving Skies is a $10,000 booster box because that's what it's gonna do. And so Destined Rivals at 2,000, Evolving Skies at 10,000. It literally did the same thing. It literally did the same thing, guys. There's nothing different about it. And so, like, the only thing different that would have occurred is if you had sold it. Yes, like 2 years from now, Evolving Skies is $5,000 and Destined Rivals is still $400. If you sold Evolving Skies, you could have profited on it. So if you are a short term holder, then yeah, that is the kind of decision you should be making. But if you're in this for the long term, 5, 10 years, your perception, the way you look at things is different. You're not waiting for little 20, 30 little dollar drops and stuff like that to buy in. Like Evolving Skies, are you really going to time it and wait for it to be under $2,000 to get it? Or you just get it right now? See, it doesn't really matter. It's the market goes up and down, it goes up and down. Just just buy it when you have free ample cash flow, buying the top premium items of each set and just let time do its thing. Just forget about your Pokemon, right? Put it on the shelves, let it be displayed, put it in your storage, in your closet, in your garage, right? In your room, whatever, and just live life. That's what investing is supposed to be. It's supposed to be something that's very simple. You buy it, you hold it, and you forget about it. I did this with Apple 10 years ago, and I just forgot about it. I just left it alone. Bunch of tech stocks I bought, just left it alone. It did its thing. Every 2 weeks, part of my paycheck goes into the 401k. I don't check it. I just let it do its thing. I buy stocks. I leave it in there. I see something that's good value. I buy it. I hold it. Let it do its thing. Time will tell, right? And same thing with Pokemon, really. If you're buying like the top three items of each of these sets, then it doesn't even really matter what you paid for it. Don't. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, guys. It doesn't matter when your money is gonna 2x, 3x, 4x. Like all these tiny little things is how you're exactly gonna lose money, and you're not gonna make money. You're gonna miss trying to time the all-time lows, right? And then trying to sell at these all-time highs. Like that is how you lose money. They say in the stock market that it takes only 5 days for majority of the gains, and if you miss out on those days, then you've pretty much missed out on 80% of your return that year. And so trying to time and find this perfect entry point, I don't think it works like that. That's not how investing works. And don't take my word from it. Go pick up a finance book, go take up an economics book, take up an accounting book, a business book, and read it, study it. Don't just take people's word on the internet for it. Do some market research. Look at the trends. I did the due diligence and did this for you. See, if you knew Scarlet and Violet was gonna eventually be $7,300, do you care if you paid $2,000 for it or $3,000 for it? doesn't really matter, right? If you knew Sword and Shield would eventually be $30,000, do you care if you paid 7,000, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000, 11,000, 12,000, 13,000, 14? It doesn't matter. It's gone up. And of course, there's better places to put your money. You can make that argument, but really, like, come on, guys. This is a cardboard game. It's cardboard. It's shiny cardboard. There's no analysis, like true analysis, right? See, I'm a CPA, so like if I want to analyze the company's financial statements, I could pull up their financial statements for the last 5 years. I can look at their income statement, their balance sheet, their statement of cash flows, their operations, and read the reports and see the change from year to year and year to year, and then measure a bunch of ratios. What's the earning price per earning? What's the earnings per share? What's the dividend ratio? What's the leverage, right? I can look at all these different factors, and then I can even compare like three, four, five different companies of each industry that I'm looking into, and I can determine something that is numerically the best option to buy, and that's where we should put our money in. But that doesn't consider the fact that there could be a premium on some companies like Apple. People really like iPhones. I got two of them, right? And even though maybe Samsung has a better balance sheet, a healthier financial statement, it doesn't mean, but Apple is just the more used product, right? So there are these intangibles that happen when you evaluate and measure companies. And I think even more so in Pokemon, there's like the sentiment and the way people feel about cards that changes. Right now, people look at Scarlet and Violet and they go like, yuck. Everything's got crowns on their heads, and these set, it's bad, and that's bad, and that's bad. 3 to 5 years from now, do you think that sentiment will change? Possibly. I think so. I think it will change because when we can't get the product anymore, and then this is now 6 to 3 years in the market, I think people are going to start looking at this very differently. Right now, people are almost like distasteful for investing in it. And I don't really understand why, because a month ago they're like, oh, it's a good buy. And now everyone is throwing all their money into Sword and Shield. And yeah, I get that. That's fine. But I think in terms of time, they're going to perform equally. I think they're going to perform equally over 5 to 10 years. So not really too worried. Um, and even if you think like you don't have to all in, you can diversify your portfolio. If you have a lower risk tolerance, yeah, go buy X and Y, go buy Sun and Moon, go buy Sword and Shield. And if you have a higher risk tolerance, when these prices for Scarlet and Violet drops over this next year, you'd be buying it up, right? It won't really matter in the long scheme of things. The numbers will pump and they'll just keep pumping. And the reality of it is this is just it seems like this is how the Pokemon market has been doing the last 30 years. Maybe all of a sudden like excitement and people no longer want it. That's the only thing I think can actually change this hobby is people have a if people automatically lose interest and there's no demand for Pokemon, then all this supply wouldn't really mean a thing. But until that happens, I think it shouldn't really matter what you invest in as much. Just time in the market, 5 to 10 years, wait on it. And I hope you learned a thing or two from this video. Thank you for watching. I'm Poke Accountant, and I want to wish you again that you and your family would have a Merry Christmas. Thanks for watching. Bye.